There's this video I want you guys to watch. I want you guys to listen before I can proceed to say whatever I want to say. Because each time there is a post online about, we supporting women, the male gender wants to come to the comment section and they want to attack you. Some will be like, I fear who no fear this gender. Some will be like and all the, and you also forget that you are also a gender that women should be careful about, that women should be careful of. It's quick for you to see the toxicity in the female gender, but you don't see the toxicity and the narcissistic behavior in your own gender. And anyway, before I proceed, let's listen to this video, let's watch it, and then I'll impute what I want to say.
I've been married for 20 years now. My husband had literally nothing when we met at the university. He had great potentials, so I decided to go against all odds to be with him. Back then, my dad was into politics. He was a very wealthy man, so I lacked nothing. As an only daughter, I wanted to help my husband, then my boyfriend, make it in life. And so I told my dad boldly that it's him or no one else. Tima, because of the love my dad has for me, right after university, he employed my husband and made him general manager for one of his top companies. We got married right after university. My dad gifted us our first home and bought him a car. In fact, I was very fulfilled and my husband never disappointed all of us. He kept working so hard and today he owns one of the top companies in the country. Tima, the issue is that about 5 years ago, my husband decided he needed a personal assistant because we all agreed there was so much he could forget due to his workload. And so I introduced my goddaughter and made my husband employ her. The work is so tedious that I hardly saw her, but once in a while, she calls to check up and vice versa. She even come home most weekends to help me with one or two stuff. Tima, somewhere last 4 years, which was a year after working with my husband, she called me that she got pregnant and that she wanted to keep it, but the boyfriend doesn't really have money and was asking me for advice. Tima, I advised her to keep the baby and even requested to meet the guy, but she was always tossing, so I left it and she had the baby. Finally, and right after delivery, within 6 months, she got pregnant again. This time around, my husband was the one to even break the news to me. So I called her, then she said it's the same guy. So I even raised concerns that the guy must marry her, which she agreed. So I left it there. Tima, just last week, my goddaughter's best friend, whom she recommended, and I made my husband employ her as his PRO, asked to see me and I was surprised. Tima, to cut the long story short, I asked this lady to come over and to my utmost surprise, she shows me pictures of traditional marriage ceremony of my husband and my goddaughter and went ahead to tell me that her 2 kids are for my husband as well. I asked why she's not telling me. She said she just couldn't anymore because I was so good to both her and my goddaughter. Tima, as I'm sitting here, there are so many things going through my mind. At the traditional marriage ceremony, I saw my husband's parents and his siblings. So I was asking myself, where did I go wrong? As for my goddaughter, I don't even know what to say. This girl is my best friend's daughter. She's late and she had her as a teenager. So she's now in her mid-20s. So I took it upon myself to sponsor her education since she's such an intelligent girl. I love her so much and I'm still shocked at her behavior. This world is so cruel. Tima, I am 45 years now with 2 kids. And you see, I'm just hurt and pained. Tima, a man I picked from nothing and made him something. Jesus, I feel like dying. I haven't even gathered the courage yet to ask him. I'm still his legally married wife. 2 people I do cherish and trust decided to break me into pieces. God, please, What do I do?
Did you hear that? What do I do? The other day when I posted this Hakimi's issue, although my argument was purely on the basis of law and there were no sentiments attached to it. So in fact, there was no insult I did not receive at the comment section. Some people called me a bitch. Some people called me a gold digger for, arguing on the point of law. There was nothing men, guys did not say to me at that comment section. Okay, you say women don't want to build with men from the scratch. They just want to, get an already made man, where they want to eat from a place they've not sown. They want to harvest from a place they've not sown. Now, listen to this woman's story. From her accent, you can tell she's a Ghanaian. No, just listen. This was a woman that used her father's wealth to build the man. I know a lot of you are going to say she did not build the man. The man worked for it. If the father had not made him MD of his company, he would have probably been on the street looking for a job or trying to japa. And at the end of the day, he chose to marry his wife's goddaughter. You don't get it? God, see, that's the painful part. If he had even married maybe someone else out there, nobody knew about, but his wife's goddaughter, he knew how special this girl was to his wife because she's the daughter to his friend, to her best friend that died. He chose to marry her secretly. Man, I don't know. See, as I always tell people, anything that threatens your marriage, get rid of it. Anything that would cause a distress to your marriage, that will give you hypertension, get rid of it. If possible, your husband's secretary should be a man. I always tell you people, should be, if you think your husband likes women, if your husband sleeps with all of the maids in the house, bring a male maid in the house now. Case solved. If you think your husband sleeps with the cook, bring a male cook. Case don't solve. If you think your husband's secretary in the office your husband is likely to fall for her, bring a male secretary. Chicken. Madam said she even took risk. My husband wants a personal assistant, and he consulted me to get him a personal assistant, and I gave him a woman because she's my goddaughter. Even my sister that is looking for a job, the one with same mom, same father, I can't give her to my husband as a personal assistant. And see, now your own, the fact that you guys are blood does not mean they won't betray you. It's not true. I want to get a personal assistant for my husband, I'll get him a guy. Yes, it's better. At least if he does his other things out there, I don't know. See, the pain, the hurt, it would not be as much as it is now, knowing she was a girl you were helping, someone you took as a goddaughter. The pain won't be that much. The hurt wouldn't be that deep. But right now, you can be bastardized. It's like your husband sleeping with your blood sister. It's painful. That's exactly it. It's just like, she's my daughter. But if you had given him a male assistant, there are a lot of guys out there looking for job. They're looking for work. I always tell women, if you know you are working and you want to save your marriage, don't bring in female house help to the house. Don't. Auntie, no try am. Especially if you know your husband is rich, and men's riches is their own spec. Men's pocket is their own attraction out there to women. Like a woman with a beautiful face, she attracts wealthy men, she attracts any kind of a man. So is a man with a lot of money. Even when the man self no wants, now girls go they pursue her, go they pursue the man. Yes, even when the husband self no one do, women go they pursue him because he hold back. Especially maybe you can't get fling with one girl one time, and you know the girl don't say and say, ah, just like that, this man wire me 1 million. Ha, I die here. So save yourself the stress. Get a male house help. Get a steward. Your gatesman, make you no carry him girlfriend come the house. It's prohibited. Person wey go clean the house, somebody that will cook for you because you're working, I don't know, depending on what you do, should be a guy. If you want a nanny, bring old mama, come be your nanny. In fact, those ones, they take care of children better. If you are in the states where divorce laws work in favor of women, okay, then you're fine. It's okay. But you see, in this Nigeria, divorce settlement is not in your favor as a woman. You know, they're your favor. It's not. So whatever that stands as a threat to your marriage, get rid of it. She's your goddaughter. She's not your biological daughter. And even if she was your biological daughter, and is not your husband, that you know, and your husband is not her biological father, she stands a risk of being with that man. So how much more a goddaughter? People, you know, single mothers that, you know, that remarried, you know, they're always careful, you know, with their daughters and, you know, their new husbands. Most of the time, most of them lecture their daughters. You know, see, men. But at the same time, I know there are faithful men out there, but most times a man is faithful only because she cannot afford more women. You say, ah, this one when I cuckoo get, make I dinner. Like if you go to the States, you know, let's say, ah, there is true love here and all that, because you know everybody there is busy, everyone is busy working, young girls are busy working, women are busy working, even the single ladies are busy working. So to even find person self where you one day flirt around, so anybody that wants to date is looking for something real. So they are not, you know, most of the time they're not looking to play around. You know, there are a few exceptions to that. In a case of this woman, if she files for a divorce with this man, she is entitled to half and more of what the man owns. Yes, she can. Because the Ghanaian laws and the Nigerian laws are similar. I'm sure, I'm guessing that their Matrimonial Causes Act is also similar too. Because I see a lot of Ghanaians at the Nigerian law school being called to the bar at the same time. So I'm assuming it's the same thing. There is nothing wrong with building with a man. Auntie, there is nothing wrong. But you also have to have it at the back of your mind that when a man can afford so many women, his chances of being faithful will be as slim as this. Most times, I mean, don't misquote me, I'm using my words carefully. Most times, men choose to be faithful because they cannot afford other women. If they can afford the varieties of women they want, faithfulness is far from them. So before you sit your ass down there and say, oh, my man is faithful, you gotta be sure he's wealthy, he's rich, and he can afford women of class. He can afford any kind of woman. Because women too have standards. There are women with class out there too. Not just any man can afford them. You got to be sure about that. Somebody that I can imagine how, you know, it must have been difficult for the father to like, no, I mean, I have my friend's son. He's in the state. He's doing well. His business partner, you can get married to him, you know, and then you'll be fine. You don't need to worry about anything. I can imagine the pressure she must have put on her dad. That this man, that we school together, I want him to be my husband. And his father was like, okay, well, if that makes you happy, I mean, what choice am I left with? I can imagine. Before you come to my comment section and say that this gender, they don't want to build with anybody. make sure that you are a man that can be trustworthy. Because you cannot tell a woman she's got trust issues when you are not trustworthy, when you keep giving her reasons to distrust you. And for what is fair, any woman that does not want to build with a man, if that's what makes you happy, me, I'm not against it. Different strokes for different folks. It worked for some persons, it didn't work for other people. So find out what works for you, because this whole women are gold diggers. Oga, women are not gold diggers. Apparently, women work for their money. You are just too broke to take care of a woman, and